All right. Well, Tucker Carlson, it turns out Tucker Carlson had a chance to meet World Economic Forum's Klaus Schwab. Can you imagine what that must have been like? So Klaus Schwab, the main driver behind the Great Reset, of course. Just a few weeks ago, of course, we found out that Schwab is stepping down and is handing over the reins to his family. And his daughter, Nicole. Now, we did report on this show, of course, that they didn't want to hand over the reins of the World Economic Forum to outsiders. They want to keep it within the Schwab family. So that, and this is going to continue on. So no board members. It's going to be contained inside the Schwab family. And she wants to continue the Great Reset. She's publicly said this a number of months ago. So is he really the brain trust that we think he is? Well, Tucker Carlson was just on the Sean Ryan show, and he admitted to meeting the guy, and he wasn't impressed at all by him. Watch. So... Okay. So totally unimpressive.
I wonder how he really feels.
Like sad, fat, dumb girl. But it does.
But powerful, right?
But powerful.
People die because of her dumb mistakes.
Well, and
her self-loathing dumb mistakes.
The reason I think that this is interesting is not just it's the assessment of this sort of insular world where you have in Washington D.C. or you have these sort of power brokers, the Ursula von der Leyens, the Klaus Schwabs, the Tedrosses of the world, like they're sad individuals.
Well, the expression,
they're sad, unimpressive individuals.
Never meet your heroes.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Tucker was he really thought of him as a hero, and he's like, "Wow, you really disappointed me. You're quite a loser, actually."
Joe Rogan had this bit that he did in his stand-up where he was like, you don't want an intelligent president. Like they had an intelligent president, and then like people were like the powers that be would be like, I think we can go dumber. So they went with Bush. Like, I think we can go even dumber. And it's like they want those people that are idiots in there because they don't resist what they tell them to do.
Right. Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah, that's why they say, you can, it's very difficult to ever have someone who is, very, very high IQ in any of these positions because they are controlled. But, Klaus Schwab, I think, does control things. And if he's an unimpressive idiot who's sort of he's got sycophants all around him, right? And I think that's the thing. He never really is allowed out of his bubble to meet people like Tucker Carlson and these other individuals who are going to do challenging things. When he does the World Economic Forum, it's all sycophants who are surrounding him and asking him questions, right? But he's an elderly idiot who seems a little senile, doesn't have any idea what he's talking about. The closer you get, the more you realize the people running things are mediocre, like buffoons, he says. So, but to me, this was the eye-opening part of this interview, because he's admitted that these guys are idiots who love to destroy the things that they don't build, right? They like to tear down the things that they don't build. So if you think about what Klaus Schwab is doing with the Great Reset, it's tear down, going to an office space, right? Going to an office.
Well, the economy as we have built it with our purchasing power, basically.
Yeah, the monetary system as we know it.
So it's like we're the doozers and they're the fraggles. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's what Tucker says here. Things that our ancestors have built, the beautiful infrastructure, the financial system, right? Whatever it is, they want to tear it down. He describes it all as vandalism. Watch. The evil part was interesting. Like that's a precursor to evil. It's like the root of all evil. And it's the most telling part of evil. And you want to tear everything down. I don't know. I found it really fascinating.
It sounds like Commodus, right? The most destructive emperor of the Roman Empire, and the only one that was a direct descendant of an emperor. So he didn't earn that position. He was birthed into it and destroyed it. So if you study your Roman history, you would know that Commodus was the end of the Roman Empire. And if you haven't studied, maybe you've seen Gladiator, because that is exactly the archetype of the way that Joaquin Phoenix played it.
Right. And by the way, the Roman Empire, you devalue the currency. Yeah. You borrow more than you have coming in, and then the Vandals are at the gate. Right. This is what happens.
You just look at this administration and if you just look at what's happening in the United States, it's crumbling. Like we are watching it crumble with the immigration and with the economy and everything. We're seeing before our eyes this country crumble. And it's like they know they can do stuff about it, but they don't. They fake pass legislation. They fake fight that they're, the Republicans didn't pass the immigration bill. Like it's just like, but if you looked at the actual bill, it would destroy the country.
Yes, but when he says I don't think that it's intentional. It's just these big whiny babies who are otherwise incompetent, and that's what we are suffering from their leadership. It's hard to know, right? And I don't want to have this sort of religious zealot idea about it, is that every bad decision is part of a global conspiracy and they're all connected, because it's really hard to know why so many people in power are doing so many destructive things.
Well, it also gives them so much, a huge level of intelligence.
Right.
Right. You mean to tell me that all of these clowns are so smart that it's like 5-dimensional chess somehow, that they're that far ahead of us.
Yes.
But the thing is, they did write these things down. Right, they did write these things down in their Great Reset plans in 2030, and all of these things. So they've mapped out these meetings.
Right.
They've mapped out these plans when they get together and they have meetings about these things.
Yeah.
When the Fed gets together and plans these things, and then it comes to fruition just a few short years later. And when you look at COVID, for crying out loud, right? I mean, we were hearing about COVID as part of a plan, or as part of a pandemic before it happened. It's not to me, that's not a coincidence.
Right. Yeah, it's just, I think that if we always defer to the global conspiracy, that almost will make us lazy and we could miss things. And I was raised in a religious sect where there was always an answer to evil in the world. It was this, that, or the other. It's the devil, it's this, right? And so that's the only thing that I get nervous about, is anytime I see something, I'm like, that's the conspiracy, because then that makes me not look further. That's the only thing I worry about.
Well, and I think it's like it's kind of like Game of Thrones, where you have there's like a small group of people that are in there with the table that has the world on it, and they're like planning, okay, this is what we have to do here, and this, and then it's like then the powers that they have around them go out and disperse that to the power that they go talk to. So it's like there's a small sect of people that are controlling everything. In my opinion, this is just what I think. Because like there's no way they could strategically, it's like a general strategically taking out a military. You have to have a strategy that knows exactly, like if you lay like some kind of like blueprint over the top of it, you can see that it like with every little thing, it all kind of like comes together as one big thing, because it's doing the same thing. It's all destroying the same thing. So
well, we know
in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think we know that these people in power are doing this. Again, the World Economic Forum, in these meetings, all of these things have come to pass. We've been tracking them. And when we call them out is the only time that seems to stop them, right? When we call out what the World Economic Forum is doing, or we call the World Health Organization out about their pandemic treaty, and then countries are like aware of it and stand up and say, no, we're not doing this, and they vote against it, it's because we and others shine a light on it.
Yeah.
In addition to which, you have the Bilderberg meetings. You have all of these sort of secret meetings where they are deciding what's going to happen on a larger scale. These billionaires get together and drive consensus.
I mean, it goes all the way back to 1913 to Jekyll Island, where that group of bankers got together, and we are still dealing with the financial system that they set up on that island in secret with the Federal Reserve and all of that. We're still dealing with that today from 1913. And so they set that a lot of these paths in place way back then, and now it's just all coming to fruition.
Well, you just go to the Bretton Woods Agreement in Bretton Woods in the United States during the Bretton Woods Accords. I mean, the financial system that we currently have as the reserve currency of the world, the United States dollar, is protected by the Bretton Woods Agreement, which would say that U.S. superiority in naval power and military might will protect the U.S. dollar. You guys use the U.S. dollar as the reserve currency of the world. And our job as part of the Bretton Woods Agreement is to secure safe passage of trade. But then when that starts, we're still dealing with that today. So we will bully the world with force. We will bully the world with guns. And you have to use the U.S. U.S. dollar as the reserve currency. We will secure the world. That's why we have 900 military bases around the world. So, yeah, that was a meeting. I wasn't invited to that meeting
or given a vote.
Nope. Yeah, no, we weren't given a vote, and it was not voted on by the American people. Also, by the way,
right?
Well, and that's the thing. Like, I love the fact that the Constitution is here to keep our politicians in place or whatever. But like, that's a document from the 1700s. I mean, I feel like we're at a point in history where we should be rewriting those things. We should be upgrading this system to a more modern system, because it's so archaic. It only favors the elite. It doesn't favor the people. And I can't believe that more people don't just like rise up and be like, we're done with this. We're not taking it anymore. Like that. I'm mad as hell and I'm not going to take it anymore. and do something about it. But like, where would you even start? You know, there's so many things.
Yeah, although I feel like the Constitution is the only thing protecting us right now. To be honest.
To be honest, I really feel that way too.
No,
that's why we have, and that's why we have amendments.
I'm really uncomfortable with the idea of ripping that out from under us.
No, you know
yeah, well, I don't mean ripping it out, but like what I'm saying is like they have systematically destroyed every bit. Like, look at how many, we can't even say what we want on these platforms. Like, we're losing free speech, we're losing all of these things, and it's like, I'm not saying destroyed. I'm saying like what was it, Iceland, that when they went through the housing bubble like we did, they put the bankers in jail and they wrote a new constitution.
Right.
The people did. And so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like, it should be updated
to think of the perverts that are in office right now rewriting the Constitution when they
but it
are
wouldn't be them. It would be us.
Yes. No, it wouldn't right now.
That's
So,
that's the thing.
Well, right now, but that's what I'm saying. They've got too much power.
It'd be Lindsey Graham.
yeah.
You know?
Oh God.
It'd be Lindsey Graham.
If anybody
and
does this,
Warren.
kill him. If anybody does this, kill him.
Right. Yeah. Jail.
No, I mean, I think the Constitution is the one thing that we have. I think the amendments process is certainly there for that reason. But I think at the end of the day, you know, we have a country right now and a judicial system that seems to be avoiding the Constitution.
That's yeah, exactly right.
And I think if we get back to the heart of it, so many countries use our Constitution as a template to write their own constitutions, and then they throw in some additional things that take away, freedom of the press, for instance, like in Israel and other places, right? They use our Constitution as like a baseline, and then they put other stuff on top of it, which removes certain freedoms. So to me, the United States Constitution is like the only document. That's why we have an amendment process. But I think right now,
and yet, if you carry a Constitution with you in your pocket and you get pulled over by the police, that is a sign of somebody that they're like third party bumper stickers and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, you're extremist if you carry the Constitution. It's like these cops they swear an oath to it, but they're not upholding it. Like, nobody in our government is upholding the Constitution. They're just trying to circumvent it any chance they get.
Yeah, you're a MAGA extremist.